if you can hear me, but anyway, here we are, guys. Good morning. Oh my gosh, yesterday we went to go and support, our brothers who are actually celebrating. Oh, yay! I'm actually seeing them on Instagram right now. We're celebrating Zimbabwean independence. But anyway, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me right now. Welcome once again. Oh my gosh, I am actually still waking up. So I have my coffee right here. People. I have my coffee. So I hope we'll be able to wake up. But anyway, welcome to another exciting episode of Tough Love Giggles on your go-to online radio station, After5Radio, dedicated to celebrating Africans in the diaspora. I am your host, aka the Hive Lady, Miss Tando Amy, coming to you live all the way from Canada. And today we have a special guest who's I am so excited to learn about their journey. And I'm hoping that you are too. And before we bring them on, I'm just gonna do a brief introduction. So from heritage to hustle, my guest today is a trailblazer in the streetwear scene, where who's turning cultural pride into a global fashion movement. If you don't know this person, you need to follow him on Instagram and everything else that he does, because oh my gosh, he is the founder of Mizizi Street Wear, a brand that unapologetically celebrates Africans' identity, diaspora unity, and bold self-expression. Please help me welcome the visionary behind the vibe, Mr. Paakow. How's it going?
Hello. I'm feeling blessed. How about yourself?
I am just waking up, yo. We're celebrating our Zim independence last night, and today is gonna be worse. I'm gonna be driving down to Edmonton another 3 hours, so I don't know how I'm gonna do that.
Happy Independence Day.
Thank you. We just turned 45 years. Anyway, thank you so much for coming through, and I hope I did pronounce your name properly, Paakow.
You did. You said it perfect.
Yes. You know, out here in the diaspora, it's a big deal, when it comes to people's names, where my middle name, not Tando. A lot of people kind of butcher it, and it actually loses the meaning. So I was like, oh my gosh, I just hope I did pronounce it properly.
You did.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming through.
No, of course. When you guys reached out to speak on my journey, I was like, how could I not?
Yay! We love that. No, that is so awesome. So let's dive right into it, because I have so many questions for you. And for those who are actually tuning in, feel free to come through if you have any questions beyond what I'm gonna be asking already. Do come through, and then we have our guest right here, and we're able to take live questions right here on After5Radio. But anyway, as we start off today or this morning, let's take it back. Let's talk about you. Who is Paakow at the core, and what inspired the birth of Mizizi? But then again, let's just start with who's Paakow before we get to the birth.
So my name is Paakow Essandoh. I am 30 years old. I'm Ghanaian American. I was born here in the States, born in New York. Ended up moving to Columbus, Ohio whenever I was 2 years old. It's always been just me and my mom. We moved from Columbus to Texas when I was 10. And then I ended up going to school, or did undergrad in Florida whenever I was 18. So in each of those places, I went through my own identity crises and trying to learn more about myself, connect with my Ghanaian roots, figure out how it fit in just the greater narrative of the society that I was around. And by the time that I got to Tampa, I was just lonely. I was going through it. I didn't know how to it was tough. And I just saw how proud the Caribbean, the islanders were just around me. And I was like, I wanted a community like that. And there's not too many Africans in Florida. There's not many.
I can imagine. Of course, like Florida. Yeah. Well, Okay, go ahead. I'll
No,
tell
no,
you after.
we have our pockets. We have our pockets, but in Tampa
Mm.
at the time, I couldn't feel like I was finding many to connect with, and that just kind of led me down the path of learning more about myself, learning more about my heritage, figuring out how I could translate that. I had a bit of fashion background in high school. Being just the only child of a single parent, you learn to become very independent and very
Mm.
so from a young age, I've always like had just different random endeavors to try to make money, just so I could not have to depend on my mom to buy food for me or buy snacks or clothes or whatever the case may be. When I was in Ohio, I used to make books and sell them in magazines or like a kids' quarterly magazine. When I was in Texas, I used to sell candy at school. We sold like cool spirit T-shirts and stuff like that. So I've always had a bit of background in trying to get things done. And by the time that I got to Florida and I jumped on this endeavor and this journey, I was like, okay, I have a bit of fashion background. I think I can apply this to that. If I could wear Ghana on a sports jersey or a baseball jersey, it's something new. It's not the most traditional, but it's a way that I can fit in with the current modern society. I just wanted to fit in with the kids at school and college. And I thought it was a way I could do so. And then over the course of a year and a half of really fleshing out the idea, figuring out which countries had the biggest populations here in the US, trying to find a manufacturer that could make it at a good quality, at a good price point. I actually tried to license the idea because I couldn't find anybody at first, but eventually I was pointed in the right direction, and I launched Mizizi on August 30th of 2015, and I haven't looked back since.
What? So 2015, okay. Now that you mentioned 2015, I know a lot of people kind of had a hiccup when it came to the pandemic. So how was it for you?
So there was two sides to that coin. I think on one end, so we do manufacture a lot of our products in China, and because the pandemic had hit China the hardest, it kind of froze everything for us. We weren't able to make new orders. We weren't able to ship new orders. We just kind of had to rely on the inventory that we had. In that same vein, though, during 2020, there was a big push for just like Pan-Africanism, Black Pride. There was the George Floyd movement that happened. And because of such, people were leaning into Black brands that represented cultures and heritages and just backgrounds from all over. So because of such, we actually saw a big push during the summer of 2020 that helped keep us afloat and really kept us going. So.
Exactly. I was like, what a visionary. Right, without knowing what was coming. So what I wanted to say earlier on is, it's funny that thinking that you were born actually in the States, and me coming born and raised in Zimbabwe. I think I've actually mentioned this before, where I'm like, it was so interesting seeing. I have one American sister of mine here in Canada who is so pro Black.
Yeah.
I was like, girl, I think it's a little bit too much. So keep in mind, what you see on social media is like, oh my gosh, Americans are a little bit too much. This is where I was coming from. I'm like, Black Americans are a little bit too much, right?
Wow.
Why was I thinking that way? Because I'm only learning now. And when I mean now, I mean 2024 into 2025, and thanking God of opening up to new to different cultures, right? As in friendships and such. So what my eye opener was my American sister. She's Black American, and she's so pro Black, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a little bit too much. Until I had an aha moment, because coming from the States, she had this whole, oh yeah, I don't understand African women. Why is it you tolerate this and that? So this is when I started. So you know how when people are like, oh yeah, don't deal with Black women. That's when I started learning there's a Black African woman and a Black American woman, totally different WhatsApp group. Because now I am learning the American culture. You understand, from this friend of mine. And after she came to my play, I do acting as well, where we actually demonstrated the African culture, how it's supposed to be, or how it is, the norm. And
Mm.
she's like, oh, I get it. And then we started having all these discussions and what have you, only to learn that the reason why I feel it's too much when it comes to people who are born in the States or Black Americans born in the States being all pro Black, which I am so proud of you having to run a brand in such a, and you're a guy. You understand in America, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? I only got to learn that I was born and raised as a majority.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come here. I've been here for about what, 14 years now. And I'm like, now I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get to experience the whole racism. You get to experience with Canada. This is one thing I like about Americans. Americans, they tell you, you know, when they don't like you. Canada, on the other hand, they'll smile at you. But I would rather you tell me that I don't like you because you're Black. You
Yeah.
understand? So when I see, like, people stepping out of their comfort zone, and for somebody who was actually born in the States having to say, you know what's my heritage? That's difficult compared to somebody who was actually born and raised in Africa.
Yeah.
Right? And so we love that. We love that. So like, oh, chill, child. Okay, I actually thought you were actually born in Africa, but the fact that you've mentioned that you're born in the States, I'm like, okay, this conversation changes a whole lot, because I'm one person who tries to pay attention, and then we dive deeper, and we're like, okay, so with you having to see, mom being, that strong, independent, I mean, single mom, how then did you decide to get into fashion, and the fact that you knew a little about fashion, right? And you know how it is when people are associated with fashion, is like, I mean, guys especially associated with fashion, it's like, oh, okay, why fashion? Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
why fashion, since you actually didn't know about it?
I wouldn't say I grew up thinking, hey, I wanted to be this big CEO of a fashion brand or
Yeah,
a company.
of course, yeah.
I think it was just a matter of, in life, you kind of try a bunch of things out. And when you try things out, you learn things. And as you learn them, they become tools in like your toolbox. And I think it just happened to be at the point of time when I was going down that journey of self-discovery, whenever I was at USF in Tampa, that I was looking at my toolbox and I was like, okay, what have I done in the past that I can merge the two, right? Like, how can I utilize this journey of self-discovery towards a business endeavor that I may have done before in the past, but didn't do it in this way. And I think the fashion was one of the ones that were it. So in high school, I went through this whole drawing stage where I was just drawing in class all the time, and I ended up printing on a T-shirt. And like, one thing about me is I get really, really just in the weeds whenever like I get my eyes or my mind wrapped around an idea. I'll do all the Googles, I'll do all the research, I'll learn everything I can about it to get something done. And at that time, I'd done everything I could to learn about just how to print on T-shirts, what was available, and just kind of the business of selling T-shirts. And by the time I'd gotten to college and I was learning all about all these different cultures and having the background I had in like printing T-shirts and figuring out how to make them and sell them at an affordable cost, and seeing that there was nothing like it on the market, I was like, no one is making African baseball jerseys. So why don't I give in the skill sets that I already have, the knowledge that I already have, and see where it can take me. So that's whenever like I went to New York, tried to find a manufacturer that could do everything from start to finish, from like design, ideation, all the way to distribution, logistics, production. They told me I was trying to do too much and that I needed to scale down on my idea. And that's when I was like, okay, let me just focus on baseball jerseys and see where I can take that. And then I was looking for manufacturers across the country, realized that it was just too expensive here to get it done here in the States. That's when I tried to license the idea to African streetwear brands. And 2015, there was kind of a wave, a surgence of African streetwear. There was brands like After5 here in New York. There was like this dashiki, I think it was called Royal Culture or something, where it was like dashikis, but it had like words on it. It was a very gentrified dashikis, but it was all the rave at the time. So I saw that there was an opportunity in a moment here. And after pitching to all these different brands to kind of show them that there's an opportunity and that there's a market, and after having faced rejection after rejection, it was finally one company that pointed me in the direction of manufacturing overseas in Asia. And once I got a few quotes from manufacturers out there, I realized that I was getting quoted a tenth of the cost, anything that manufacturers here in the States were charging me. And it was the missing piece that I needed in order to launch Mizizi. So by the time that I got some samples, I realized how good the quality was. I had the business fleshed out. I knew the market. I had done my research. I had learned about all these different cultures. I knew which cities they were located in. I knew which schools had the biggest ASAs or African student organizations that could help really launch this. I was like, okay, let me just take a chance on myself. And that's when I dove in, and yeah, it just took off.
You know, one thing I like about your journey, just with the introduction, is the idea of stepping out of your comfort zone. Knowing, because right there, there's some things where I'm like to myself, oh, okay, can I do this? Because I am used to the familiar, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm actually gonna be do good at this. But I am so proud of you being able to step out of your comfort zone and look at you now, right? And I was actually like, as I was doing my research, I was following your journey, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow. Oh wow. Oh wow. You know, you get to see a lot. Like and then now that I'm actually hanging out with you, I'm like, oh wow, it actually makes sense, you know. And it's one thing to say, you see people who are so big and doing it big out there, and the humility that comes with people like you, you know. And then now you get to learn their journeys, get to learn your journey, and you're like, wow, step out of your comfort zone. And I'm hoping that this will actually inspire people to actually step out of their comfort zone. But with that being said, why Mizizi? What does Mizizi mean?
So Mizizi means roots in Swahili. It was actually a Kenyan who who pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Oh.
So whenever I was on campus at USF, again, it was really hard for me to make friends. I had met a Kenyan. I don't know if you know any Kikuyus personally, but they are the more lucrative tribe in Kenya.
Oh, okay.
So he was putting himself through school through some businesses that he had back home in Nairobi, and he was only like a year or two older than me. And I was like, okay, if this guy can do it, and like after befriending him, and he really like pushed me to see that it's possible. I was like, okay, I can take this step. I can make something happen. Coupled with all the background that I had of like those small endeavors that I had growing up and trying to make money for myself, I was like, okay, I can actually run a business and create a business while in school. So let me just kind of take that step and see where it goes. So George, me and him, we were brainstorming. I listed a bunch of words that were related to the diaspora in Africa. He translated them in Swahili for me. When I got down to roots and he said Mizizi, I was like, that's the one. I like
I like that. I like that. I like that. That is so awesome. And especially, you know what? It's rare to find people who push us in the right direction, and also having, you know, our best interest at heart more than anything. Because, you know, we live in a world where people are always competing, Africans, sadly. But yeah, it's so amazing. And shout out to your friend, and thank you so much for, you know, pushing our brother here in the right direction. Right about now, we're talking about Mizizi, which means roots in Swahili. And so, how did your Ghanaian heritage and diasporic experience shape the creative direction of Mizizi?
I think being born here in the States, and I always, and I'm sure I know this is a sentiment that a lot of people feel, not feeling Ghanaian enough for the Ghanaian crowd, but feeling too Ghanaian for the Americans out here, just not being able to.
Okay.
And I felt like there was always just this middle ground that I had to navigate through that was just tough for me. And I wanted something, I knew this feeling wasn't something like solely to just Ghanaians. I knew it was a universal feeling between those in the diaspora or those out here in the States that have the background, whose parents or whatever generation comes from the continent, and they're raised with such values, but they still don't feel like they have a group that they really can fit in here in the States. And keeping that in mind, I was like, okay, what is something that I can do or create that is modern, right? That fits into like current cultural context, but still being rooted in these cultures. How can I add a kente print onto the jersey to show off that my Ghanaianness, but at the same time, it's still something that I can wear going to school or the club or just wearing it out to an event. And so just that experience growing up really helped keep things grounded for me and keep it in mind as I was representing more and more cultures.
Ooh, darn, man, darn. But that's it is actually bold of you having to think outside the box in that sense, because many people were actually born here. They have, like you said earlier on, identity crisis, right? Where you're thinking, okay, where do I fit in? How do I represent my culture where I was born and raised? But then at the same time, I actually really don't know, right? But was your mom, or did your mom raise you, teaching you about where you come from, or how did you get to learn your culture in that sense?
It was a bit of a mix of both.
Okay.
Cooked tree at home. She made food at home. But in the same lane, she recognized that I was a kid that was jumping from state to state and had a hard time making friends or keeping long-term friends. So she would push me to do what I can to fit in, or just to make sure that I was fitting in well with other people and other cultures, and being able to make friends from different backgrounds, and not necessarily judging people from different backgrounds, kind of just taking them in as they are, but recognizing that I still have my own, but being open to others as well, and being able to take parts from others, and really just incorporating, being flexible with how my identity is.
Right.
To my mom, because I know how hard it was for her to move out here straight from Accra, and really trying to get the lay of the land. And she didn't want me to face the same struggles. So it was a lot of her teaching me just the duality of both.
Woo! Shout out to mommy out here. And for those who are actually tuning in right now, thank you so much for tuning in. We're actually hanging out with the visionary fashion designer, Paakow, the founder of Mizizi. So right about now, earlier on, we're talking about just his background, origins, and identity. And right about now, we're getting into building his brand. So what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, like early in your days in like Mizizi, trying to figure out, okay, this is new to me, right?
Yeah.
This is new. This is out of my comfort zone. And normally they say, bring solutions to a problem for you to succeed, right? So what were the challenges that you faced, considering that it's out of your comfort zone, and then at the same time trying to figure out the industry, and how did you overcome them?
I think one of my earliest challenges was figuring out distribution. So at first I was shipping everything out
It
of
was
my
social media though.
It was social media for marketing and like being able to get the visibility. But once we got the orders in, it's like, okay, I just have my dorm room apartment in Tampa. How am I going to fit all these clothing? How am I going to ship? How am I going to go package all these orders and go to and from the post office? And what's the most time efficient way to do it, as opposed to being able to only fulfill so many, put it in my car, drive to the post office, drop them off, come back, do it all over again without taking up just too much time out of my day. And I had found a distribution center in Tampa that would do everything, so I could be a bit more hands off. I could have the manufacturer ship directly to them. Customers would order online, they would get the order, and the distribution center would ship it directly to them. And one of the early lessons I had to learn was that no one's going to care about your product as much as you will. So after some months So Mizizi's first launch sold out completely. It was about, I want to say, 100 and something jerseys across just the different countries. And
What?
this is my apartment was already full. I was like, there's no way I can like really scale this from here. And while it was growing, I found the distribution center, moved all my products there. And while it was growing, they just weren't organized or keeping up with just the organization of like, and again, people aren't going to care about your product as much as you. So they see Guinea and Guinea-Bissau, they're going to think it's the same country. So they're just going to put them together as opposed to separating them.
Right.
And early on, that we had a lot of hiccups with our fulfillment, where people were getting the wrong products, where people weren't getting their products, or it was just a mess. And that was one of the early lessons where I was like, okay, like, let me bring it back in house. Let me ship it. Let me actually like write notes to my customers so that people can feel just that strong sense of community and actually feel like I'm accessible and that they can talk to me. So that was one of the earliest lessons that I had faced with Mizizi, and one of the hardest ones that I had to overcome. And the second one was recognizing that there's so much that I don't know. And my mom always instilled reading into me, like to the point that after school, she always made me read at least an hour a day. And it was just novels and stuff. But at the same time, being able to train that skill of being able to actively read and read well and read fast and being able to actually comprehend when I'm reading. And I realized when it came, because I've never taken business classes, or I wasn't going to school to this is not an MBA. I was going to become a pharmacist. And I realized that nothing under the sun hasn't been done. And there's always been someone at some point in time who has written about it, whether it's on a scroll or in a holy text or a book or whatever the case may be. Just a matter of like finding out what the problem is and then seeking those solutions. So reading was one of the biggest things that anytime I had a hiccup or something that came up with Mizizi that I didn't know how to address, I would try to find what were the best books or resources that talked about it, just so I'd have some more perspective into how to go about the solution for it.
Ooh, I love that there's nothing new under the sun. Exactly. Actually, coming from a religious background, I always say, if you think about it, right now we're celebrating Easter, where, Jesus faced everything that we're facing under the sun. Right. And I am not ashamed to preach the gospel. I'm not ashamed to talk about it, because we face these things daily. We face challenges daily. We face everything that Christ faced right here on earth when he was on earth, right? So if you look at it in that sense, to say there's actually nothing new under the sun and you can overcome it, this is why you are where you are right now. Right. We were like, okay, you know what? I can overcome this because somebody else has been through it, and guess what? They did manage to overcome it. And here you are, you keep going, right? And your brand is getting bigger and bigger, and we're so proud of you. To be honest, so that's actually amazing, and it's not the boldness that a lot of people have, or courage that a lot of people have. So with that being said, Mizizi has become more than just a clothing brand, as we were actually saying. It's a cultural statement. How intentional was that from the start? How intentional was it, considering that you were actually trying something different and out of your comfort zone, and then eventually saying intentionally, I'm going to go that direction? And you just mentioned that you wanted to be a pharmacist. Okay, sciences, commercials, arts, commercials with the selling, arts with the brand. So how did that work?
So I'd actually taken time off of school when I was in Tampa. After my freshman year, I was like, it's too rough out here. I don't have community. Please, let me just go back home and figure out what I want to do with my life from there. And while I was home, I actually worked as a pharmacy technician at a retail pharmacy for just a few months. But those few months just showed me enough. I was like, okay, this is not where I want to be. I don't want to go back to school just to end up here doing the same stuff I'm doing now, and with just a little bit more responsibility on my hands, right? Like the pharmacists are the ones who were signing off on like the Schedule 2 drugs or counseling patients and such like that. Then I was like, this is not the life that I foresee for myself. So I was like, if there's anything that I'm going to do, what options do I have? And at the time, Mizizi it was just an idea, but I was like, okay, maybe this idea could lead somewhere. So that's whenever I really started taking it seriously. I ended up going back to Tampa. This was my sophomore spring semester, and I was like, okay, let me really flesh this out and turn this into a business plan. So, because I don't have any other options. My other option is pharmacy, and that's not what I want to do. So experiencing what I didn't like pushed me towards what I think I would like.
So how did that turn out for your mom, considering that she was a single mom, and then at the same time, African parents, we know our African parents.
Yeah.
I'm just so straight up when it comes to that. African parents think about fashion, think about arts, think about acting, think about music. The arts are the most unsupported things when it comes to profession, right? So how did that turn out for your mom? Oh my gosh, how did I raise this boy? What happened? What did I do wrong? Like, how was it? Like, how did she come to terms with your decision?
At first, we butted heads a lot about it. It's not something she wanted me to do. She wanted me to finish school, get my degree, and then start Mizizi. But one thing about my mom, I will say, is that she's always been very supportive of me and my endeavors. She always would just be a sounding board and show me like, if you're going to do this, these are the potential pros, but you also have to keep in mind these are the potential cons. And so she always kind of framed things in that way for me, but allowed me to make my own decisions ultimately at the end of the day, and she would get behind it. And again, at first, before I launched, she was very opposed to it. But once she saw how popular it was post-launch, and I'm a pretty stubborn guy, so I'm gonna do what I want regardless.
Yes. And you say you're the only kid, right?
Yeah.
Yes, only kids, last borns. Trust me, I know that. We stubborn like that. I get you.
Especially when we truly believe in an idea. So, after I launched Mizizi, and she saw just the reception of it, and she saw how people were coming up to her and talking to her about it, and how it was just making them feel, and how parents felt proud because their own children were wearing jerseys representing their countries that they didn't even think their children cared about.
And born in the States too, right?
Exactly. A lot of our audience is primarily here in the States, or North America rather, between here, Canada, with like UK, France, and Germany being like our secondary markets. And she just saw just the emotional response that people were having just interacting with Mizizi or seeing the brand and seeing what can be done. And even how it was just inspiring the people that I grew up with around me to kind of take their own like leaps of faith and jump into their own endeavors. So that's when she started like really just wearing my stuff everywhere, and really getting behind me and supporting however she could, to the point to where I actually brought her onto the team back in, I think, 2019. So now she handles all of our customer support as well as shipping, distribution, and communicating with our manufacturers.
You know what? Could I please have your mama? No, we love that. And shout out to your mom, for being supportive, because I totally understand that it comes from love, right? Where you're like, you know what? I want you to focus on, especially the health industry, where you'll never go wrong in the health industry. You can even go anywhere in the world, pharmacy, doctor, nursing, you name it, right? It's easier for you to get work. And we get it, But at the same time, look at Minnie Goddess Queen. She's like, you're so right. Last bones, we're just like that. We're stubborn. Last bones and the only kids. I don't know about only kids, actually. I'm just learning that from you. But last bones, we're stubborn like that. I am not going to lie to you. I get to hang out with a lot of last bones here, and they're like, yeah, no, I had to do this because I had to force myself, and I am stubborn. And I'm like, okay, are you the only kid, or are you the last born? No, are you the last born? Because I totally understand, because we're dreamers and we're used to getting things our way growing up, right? And then now when you're grown up, it's totally a different ball game, because you're not only the last born in your family, but you're the last born. I mean, you're only the last born in your family, but not to the rest of the world, right? So you have to adapt to that. But at the same time, we still go for what we want and what we believe in. And now I'm actually learning that, of course, only kids are the same, because, like, last born, only kid, we're so spoiled and we're used to getting things our way. And of course, mama was open-minded, and we appreciate that, because not a lot of parents are open-minded. And because they'll actually remind you and say, oh, Paco, I'm the one that actually came here, and I had to work hard for you to be here and for you
Yeah,
to actually go and get the brand. That doesn't make sense to me.
yeah, yeah.
You understand? So parents can be interesting, especially coming in the diaspora, seeing the struggle, and then trying to make a way and a path for you. And also another thing that Minnie says, no one can stop us. And here's a question for you, where she's like, where can we buy Mizizi brand? Considering that, I'm not sure where Mini Goddess Queen is located, but maybe, online stores, or how can we look for your brand?
Yeah, so our website is www.mizizishop.com. That's MIZIZISHOP.com. And we are able to ship anywhere around the world. We offer international shipping with UPS and DHL. So regardless of where you are, we can get it to you.
Oh, perfect. So there you go, Mini Goddess Queen. Is it actually on your thingy, on your Instagram? Like, is there a link on your Instagram? Like, okay, there you go. So link in bio. I'll actually put in. I'll put in Paakows Instagram. What do you call it?
Instagram handle?
Instagram handle. Yeah, I'm still waking up. Instagram handle. Yeah, exactly. I'll actually put Paco's Instagram handle, and then you can follow him on Instagram, and then go on the link on his bio so you can get all that information. But thank you so much for that question, Mini Goddess Queen. And then it's like, it has been done by someone in the family, and it had to be me. I know, right? We're the black sheep of the family. I get you, sweetheart. I totally get you. It has been done by somebody in the. It has to be done. It has to be done by somebody in the family. And of course, the last bones are the ones who actually kind of the black sheep of the family. But yeah, but it has to be done, like you said. With that being said, Edmonton, I am actually going to be in Edmonton this evening. We have a show tonight. Edmonton is my hometown. I've been there for 10 years before I moved out here. So definitely we'll be seeing it tonight, Mini Goddess Queen. Hopefully that you'll come out. But stay tuned after Paco's interview so we can let you know what's happening in Edmonton tonight. But as we move forward with our interview, Mini Goddess Queen, I will actually put Paco's handle so you can follow him, and also check out where you can get Mizizi. So with that being said, Paco, moving forward, what does success look to you? What does success look like for you now compared to when you first launched?
I
Because
think,
it's probably totally different now, right?
yeah, I think when I was young, I wanted to be like the cool kid that had all the attention and acclaim and everybody was wearing and whatnot. And I think as I've gotten older, as we near 10 years in August, I've
Mm,
recognized that I'm more so focused on legacy, being able to
mm,
show others, to show other kids coming up who are in their 20s or younger, whoever the case may be, that wants to build a brand or find ways to show off their heritage or feel like it's okay to lean in towards it and take the path less traveled. Um, Being able to inspire those in that way has been more of like fulfilling in regards to success, as opposed to just always being relevant or being like the face of everything and being really is great. And I think that my ego was stroked at a young age, but as I gotten older, I've realized that a lot of it doesn't really matter, and what matters is your impact ultimately. So I think, yeah, I want Mizizi to serve as like a beacon that like you can do this. There is a space for this, especially when it comes to being an African child. We tend to get put in boxes, but there really is no box, right? The sky's the limit for us. Just a matter of us having faith and confidence in ourselves to take those additional steps. So yeah, so that's what success looks for me as I've just gotten older.
Ooh, we like that. And just the whole idea of, yeah, my ego stroked at a young age. I'm like, oh, okay, so how do you overcome that? Right? Because we know men and their egos, right? You're like, oh, okay, how do you manage to overcome that? Because success is a huge thing. It's quite huge when somebody gets somewhere. They're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize and I didn't think actually I was gonna get there. And so, do you actually do this like full time fashion designing and everything, or? Oh, we like that. Oh, we like that. We like that. So, how do you see fashion as a tool for storytelling, especially within Africa and diaspora communities?
I think it's a way for us to speak our truths in creative ways without even having to say much, right? Like
Mm,
people, they perceive you in different ways based off what you're wearing.
mm,
Being able to tell or speak to who you are in a creative way that reflects your identity through the clothes that you're wearing, without even having to open your mouth or say a word, um, is a way that fashion can serve as a storytelling purpose and a way to get ideas across without even having to speak.
mm.
So.
Oh, that is awesome. And with that being said, we actually have a question and another question here. So the other question from okay, this is one of I didn't actually didn't realize this is one of my favorite amazing fellow talk show hosts. Talk show host was actually based Miss Francoise, are you actually in New, is it New York? I'm not too sure. She's gonna have to come through on that question. So she's like, what matters is your impact. That's what's important, I think, when we're talking about our previous conversation. What matters is your impact more than anything. But thank you so much for coming through, Miss Francoise. She's actually, I think she's, I don't know. I'm trying to remember if she's actually based in New York, or, but she's definitely in the States, and she's also doing amazing. She's now a speaker. I think she was on TEDx as well. I believe she was on TEDx. And yeah, I knew it. Yeah. I was trying to remember. She is actually based in New York. Sorry, I easily get excited. She is actually based in New York. And thank you so much for coming through, Miss Francoise. So moving forward, I am actually glad that you have your own way of storytelling within the African and diaspora community. But Muzizi has collaborated with major platforms like Marvel and Disney. We saw that. We're like, huh, huh, Mama. You ought to be proud of your son. So how did those partnerships come about? Because a lot of people would actually be wondering, okay, you started from not knowing if this was a journey for you, and also being inspired by somebody to say, you know what, take this path because it'll take you to greater heights, and then seeing yourself partnering up with the likes of Marvel and Disney. Those are huge. So how did those partnerships come about, and what was the experience like?
So Marvel was the one that opened the door for Disney, and then we also partnered with Paramount for the Coming to America 2 sequel back in 2021. Yeah, we made a whole Zamunda collection and everything with them. But how Marvel initially started was this was during the first Black Panther movie, when the trailer had dropped. I want to say October of 2017. That's when people were taking to social media, being like, "Hey, what should we wear to the movie? Let's wear traditional. Let's wear some Mizizi." And then we had a small customer segment that was like, "No, Mizizi needs to make a jersey specifically for this movie so that we can wear it." And I thought it was a cool idea, but at the end of the day, at the time we were only 3 years old. I was like, well, what business does Marvel do or have doing business with a small Black-owned business?
I know, right? Exactly. Like talking
And
yourself down like that.
I just started doing more research. And again, like I said, once I get an idea wrapped around my head that makes sense, I really get in the weeds of it. and really just figuring out, okay, what was Marvel's intentions with marketing to the African community? How were they going about it with Black Panther? Where were their holes, and how could we be a solution for it? And what I saw that on the market, there wasn't a product like ours at the quality that it was at. It was a lot of like, it was just cheap merchandise, cheap clothing, and it wasn't speaking directly to the Africans or the diaspora. So I put together a pitch deck showing Marvel why we were the superior brand in order for them to do business with us. And I reached out to the licensing team to see if there's something that could be done. And I immediately got faced with the rejection. They're like, this is great and all, but we already have enough licensees. We're not looking for any more. And again, stubborn. I was like, I hear your no, but where I'm from, no means maybe and maybe means yes. So unfortunately, I can't take your no for an answer. And it got into a bit of back and forth to the point to where Marvel said that they would seek legal action if we were to release anything with Marvel IP on it. So that's when I was like, okay, let me back up. Let me calm down. Let me
Oh my God.
I was like, let me figure out a different direction to go towards this. And instead of going through the front door, I was like, how about we go through the back door and start up a whole social media campaign and show them that there's proof of concept. So that's whenever we made the mock-up jersey, we filmed it, we shot a commercial, and then we posted it online saying, we called it the Mizizi for Marvel campaign. And we told people, we were like, look, we would love to release this jersey, but we can't. So tell Marvel that you want it in order to put the pressure on them. And it did pretty well. It got picked up by the Shade Room, went semi-viral. A lot of people tagged Marvel, but alas, they were still telling me no anytime that I had reached out to their email and was showing them how much just social media and community support that we had. And throughout this entire period, I had actually made a LinkedIn, and I was like, okay, if someone from Marvel who sees my email and they Google my name, what do I want popping up, right? Do I want my Instagram popping up, or do I want my LinkedIn popping up? So I made a LinkedIn. I was starting to get active on it throughout this entire process. I was reaching out to those who worked at Marvel's Soft Lines team, and it was really just one person who ended up responding to me. And she didn't even respond to me until after the movie had launched. This was March of 2018 now. The movie had dropped in February of 2018. And she was like, yo, I've seen your tenacity. I've seen your ambition. I've seen how consistent you've been. Let me get a connect from someone at Disney's consumer products team for you. And you can try that route instead. So she got the email to me. I reached out to Disney's consumer products team. They loved the idea. And from there, I flew out to LA within 48 hours, and I was talking to the CP team and figuring out how we can make the launch as a part of the Black Panther movie merchandise, or the DVD movie merchandise release in the upcoming summer.
Guys, if you didn't pick anything out of this conversation today, is at least pick that a no can turn into a maybe, and a maybe can turn into a yes. I like that. I was like, that is so daring. You understand? And not giving up. Because a lot of people will be like, oh, you know what? I guess I'm not cut up for this or whatever. Like, at least I tried. You understand? But you were like, no, I'm not taking no for an answer, because we want to get there to the point of investing in a commercial for them to see. And people need to do the most for them to be seen out there, and to even spend more for them to earn more at the end. And I'm just hoping people are taking notes right there. I am actually taking a whole lot of notes right there, because just not being stubborn, like you said, being stubborn as you are, it opens lots of doors. Because if you just come there and say, oh yeah, Amanda, knock, knock, knock. Oh, what's up? How can I help you? Oh, ABCD. Could you please help me with ABCD? I know it doesn't work. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Guess what? I'm going to think Paakow doesn't even care. Like, he actually didn't mean it. So keep moving. But if you're so persistent on what you want, you end up having partnerships with the likes of Disney, with the likes of Marvel, right? And they will point you in the right direction, because they will see, wow, this person is actually serious about what they want and what they're looking for. And guys, if you're just joining us, we're having an interesting conversation with the visionary and owner of Mizizi, Mr. Parker, who's actually based in the States and at the moment originally from Ghana, but based in the States. And we're learning a lot. I am learning a lot right there. I am taking lots of notes in my head mentally, right? And I'm like, wow, talk about not giving up in your journey and what it is, whatever it is that you've been called to do. And I bet your mom was actually proud and like, okay, 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 that's my son right there. I get it. I get it. So then how do you balance being authentic to your roots while also appealing to the global audience? Because it's not easy. And then again, thank God for social media, right?
No, I think the biggest thing is I have good community around me that keeps me grounded. So letting me
Mm,
know when maybe some of my ideas go too far, or they just won't be necessarily accepted by the masses. Um,
mm,
I think it's a matter of also communication, like talking to people that are from these communities that are back home, learning their struggles, learning what their nuances are, talking to those that are here in the diaspora, learning from everybody's experience, and seeing what is the best way to navigate it so that when you're putting out product, people from both back home and the States can relate to it in a way that is taking their nuances into consideration. uh,
mm.
I learned like the biggest thing is really talking to people and like actually befriending them, actually spending time, immersing yourself in cultures so that you're coming into these things with just a full, well-rounded perspective.
And also being able to be open to ideas, just being open minded, right? While you're at it, because some people are so close minded, like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah, 100%. Like I don't think I would be able where I am today if I did shut down ideas from the jump, or if I didn't just keep open mind and keep an open ear with things and being able to pivot on the fly or take different directions after hearing something that I'd taken into consideration, or taking people's feedback. Um, it truly does take a village, and it takes someone that's open to listening to the village in order to get there together.
Absolutely. And also we got congratulations from Miss Francoise as well. And she's like, now that's called persistence because you knocked the door until they opened it. So don't ever give up. So no means not yet. It doesn't mean no, and keep moving. So congratulations to you on that. So ask him what steps excuse me, what steps should one take if they now if they are now starting out to get to your level?
I think the biggest thing is reaching out to people, um, asking for guidance, asking for advice, asking if you can just have a bit of their time just to build rapport. Um, there's no such thing as a self-made man. I think it really takes people pouring into you and pouring into your idea, helping it develop, giving you new ideas, sparking that creativity and imagination within you in order for things to truly and grow in a wholesome manner. Um, so yeah, just don't be scared to reach out to people. If you see someone that's in a position that you're in or that you want to be in, or you see them doing something interesting, or if and don't get me wrong, make sure you're doing your research and not just wasting people's time. It's like you're coming to them with showing that you're knowledgeable and you've spent the time dedicated to this topic or subject, and like you're really trying to just expand what your perspective is by getting their perspective and talking to them. Just talk to them as a person and like hearing them out and showing them that they are heard. I think at the end of the day, people just want to feel seen and not just
Mm.
used. So if you can show that and show that you actually care to the person that you're talking to, um, I mean, they'll just open up the doors for you, and it really only takes one person. So you
And I
just need.
like that. I like the whole idea of how, where you say people want to be seen and not feel used, because we live in a world where social media, everybody's looking for numbers. And if anything, they'll be like, oh my gosh, I want to partner up with Paco because Paco's got numbers, right? I want to partner up. But then are you doing it with the right intentions? Are you doing it with, caring for Paco more than anything, or it's just for your selfish desires, right? But thank you so much for that for that advice, and I hope Francois, you actually got your response regarding, what steps people should take. Just build rapport, be genuinely and authentically friendly more than
Yeah.
anything. And I actually met her on social media because we're both talk show hosts, right? And we grew together in that sense. And watching her journey was so interesting, so much that you're like, you know what? I am rooting for you all the way. Like you said, support your fellow people or whoever it is that comes into your space to say how best can we grow together, not just for my selfish desires and maybe your selfish desires. But I hope she's answered. I hope she is actually answered. And as we run out of time and trying to speed things up, how do you sorry, what advice would you give to young creators, I guess is the same one, and entrepreneurs who want to use their identity as a driving force?
I would say make sure you do your research. I think
Mm,
a lot of ways that we can people put things out there because they're passion projects without actually studying the business of things. Make sure there's a market for it. Make sure there's not a competing or directly competing product that's out there for it. Make sure that you're studying how other people that are in similar veins or in similar industries have gone about marketing identity to these cultures and the best way to communicate to them so that they feel as if you're speaking to them and not necessarily at them, right? Like
mm,
there's been a lot of times to where we've rolled out product that we didn't do our due diligence in talking to these communities. So whenever we did, we missed those small nuances of how we communicate to where people realize that, oh, this is just a commercial gimmick. Then they don't really care about our culture. Um,
mm,
and yeah, it was because we rushed the product and we didn't take the time to do the research, to
mm.
learn about the audience, to really talk to the audience, befriend them, learn about what are the small things that we can add to the design to make them really feel seen. And yeah, I think if there's one thing that I just want to hammer in, it's just like do the research, whether it's in a book, whether it's talking to people, whether it's looking up podcasts or listening to radio shows, hosts online, just taking that time to do the due diligence so that you have,
Mm.
when you're rolling the product out, you really have a full perspective of how it's going to be received.
Woo! Research, baby, research. And also, like you said, I just love the fact that your mom instilled reading in you, because sometimes, like if you we've seen so many successful people who did not finish even just an undergrad because they have a dream, they have a vision, and they run with it, right? But that doesn't mean you need to stop reading or investing in yourself more
No.
than anything. And I just hope this is something that people will actually take with them in order for them to be successful. And also, how do you handle pressure or criticism while running a brand that represents such a wide spectrum of people and cultures?
I do go to therapy, so don't get
Wait,
me wrong.
wait, 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 Paco. I love this. Can you come again? Because I know, like you said, ego is huge when it comes to men, right? And their therapy at the same time is not easy to say in a public space, right? But
Yeah.
I am actually so proud of you. Come again before you continue, and then you can go.
I do go to therapy. I think it's helped me in regards to staying grounded, staying humble, recognizing that Mizizi is bigger than just me, and it's not just a man-driven disease or a man-made driven machine. It's a movement, and it's encompassing of a village of people that are all pouring into it, whether it's customers or family or just community that want to see the growth of the business and have my best interest at heart.
Mm,
Um, I think that therapy has really helped me a lot in making sure that the pressure doesn't get to me and recognizing that it's like a group effort and it's not just me. And even when it comes to the criticism, it's like people aren't trying to be malicious. It's not like they're coming at me because they hate me. It's just because they want to see something for them, right?
mm,
They're speaking because they don't feel truly represented or they don't feel seen. So it's like, how do I take that in consideration, remove myself from the conversation and actually just look at it from an objective point of view. So therapy has helped me a lot and given me the tools to kind of remove my ego from a lot of situations and recognize that it's bigger than me, and try to see the truth in what people are trying to say.
That's a breath of fresh air. I like hearing that. I like hearing that because I know the good thing is I guess it would be easier for you because you're actually born in the Western world and you understand what therapy means compared to, our African culture where some people are born and raised in Africa. And then when they hear therapy, they think crazy. You understand? They think crazy, they think weakness, they think, you know, you can't even think for yourself to the point that you actually need somebody else to help you think, right? But instead, therapy is something that actually helps many of us. Like you said, first of all, it's not even about a problem, it's about keeping you grounded,
Yeah.
right? It depends on what it is that you're looking for in therapy, keeping you grounded, keeping you level-headed. Not going beyond what you can handle more than anything. And we're so proud of you, and I just hope people are taking notes regarding that, because people shun away from talking about such things, and also coming from a male's perspective, they think, yeah, Amanda, you just talk gibberish when it comes to therapy. You think I'm insane and what have you, but here we are. Look at one successful person, and I bet you if we're to dig deeper, everybody that's in the public space or everybody that's successful, they usually go for therapy more than anything, right? Because they also need to be able to calm down out of that creative mindset and what have you, just to cool off and think about something else. How best can you do that other than just going for therapy? And last but not least, what's next for you and for Mizizi? Any upcoming drops, campaigns,
Yeah.
or passion projects that we should actually look up for?
I can't say too much at the moment.
We like that. So that's big.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's huger than we no, but not anymore, because you've said big steps, right? You've said big steps.
Yeah. Yeah. So
What?
we
Okay.
should be doing something big for our 10 years coming up in August. So
What? Okay. Can I actually come for it? Can I come for it? I can come and support. Yeah. Please do give us details and stuff like that. So we will definitely look out for that, and of course we will be glad to publish that on our social platforms and what have you. And when you say something big, can I try and persuade you to try and spit it out?
not yet. Not yet. Not yet.
No.
In due time. In due time.
Time, in due time. No, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Paco, for just hanging out with us, and for just hanging out with us. And I know a lot of people would be thinking, then how do you find time just to make for like an hour of just to hang out and say your story, your journey, and what have you? So how best do you actually unwind other than therapy, perhaps even nature or what have you? How do you unwind from this busy world, the social media spaces, and what have you?
Uh, I mean, really just making sure I'm taking time for people to hang out, to kick it with, to spend quality time, and being hard about those boundaries, so that like if it's time for work, it's time for work. But if it's time to just like relax and play and just have fun and be with people, make sure I'm truly doing that, so that I'm not just like burning myself out 24/7. So I think it really, I just have really good friends and family. And I
Yeah.
think that like I've done a lot to kind of protect those relationships, to make sure that I'm pouring into them, and that it's not just one way. It's not
Mm.
pouring into me, but it's reciprocated as well. Um, yeah.
Ooh, that is amazing. And thank you so much, Paco. I am lost of words. I really do. But it's such a pleasure and an honor just hanging out with you here and getting to learn your journey and being inspired. Not just me, and I bet a lot of viewers and listeners, if they're listening on air or on the go, I'm sure they've been inspired by your journey. And we just wish you all the best in your journey and in your 10 years. Congratulations for
Thank
10 years in the making. Actually, come to think of it, you're like 2015 and now 2025. Like, what? You know, how time flies. That is so huge. But no, we're here to support you. We're here to spread the word once you're ready to tell us
you.
what's coming up. We'll be here for it. We're definitely here for it. Thank you so much.
Understood. It was an incredible time. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for the questions. And please, if anyone wants to reach me, you can at Paakow Essandoh across my Instagram or all social media, or at Mizizi Shop, MIZIZISHOP.
Yay! There you go, guys. The easiest thing I will tell you is just go on IG and then link to the bio. You will get all the information. That this is the one thing I like about social media now, where you're able to put in your details there, and everybody just one-stop shop, and then the rest will follow. But no, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Paakow. I am going to let you go now, since we're past our time, but we're not too bad. 9 minutes late. But no, thank you so much for making time. I know we were meant to hang out last week, but of course, last minute plans and stuff like that. But we managed to make it this week, and thank you so much.
By all means, if there's anything, feel free to reach out.
Oh, definitely. We should be telling you once you're ready. Please do let us know so we can make noise about it. And definitely, I wouldn't mind flying over there for your celebration of the 10 years, because this is something that is worth celebrating, and it's huge, really. To be honest, I know people will be thinking, but it's just a clothing line. No, it's not. You understand? Because if you're somebody that knocks on so many doors, definitely it's worth celebrating once you reach that milestone.
Amen.
Amen. Anyway, so shout out to your mama, and please do pass our love and regards and thanks for being a supportive mom. And yes, we love our parents, and we know it comes from love, but we also appreciate the fact that they're actually open-minded to our ideas and being supportive all the way.
It's true. I'll give her a shout. I'll let her know.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Paakow. I'm going to let you go.
All right. Cheers.
And then I'll reach out to you. I'll reach out to you afterwards.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Awesome. Take care and God bless you. All right. All right, guys. You heard it for yourselves from the talented and visionary. I know a lot of people are like, what? I was also in shock on a lot of things, because when you're actually kind of doing research, it's like, okay, it's one thing reading about somebody's journey, and then eventually getting to hear from the horse's mouth, and you're like, whoa, how did you get to that? But we got to hang out with such an amazing trailblazer, and somebody who's changing the narrative in this fashion world with Mizizi Street Wear. Please do follow Paakow, as you can see on our IG. On our thingy right there, where it says you can follow him on IG, and then you can get to know more about what he is up to, what he's all about, and a whole lot more. And he says, you know what, there's something coming up, but I can't say yet. So I think the best way to do it is by following him and then wait for it. But thank you so much, Paakow, for coming through. Anyway, as we wait for our next guest, yes, we're almost done. We're not going to do another hour. We're going to be having like a 5-minute conversation with somebody. Who is that person? I bet you a lot of people are thinking, okay, Amanda, like what? We've never had to hang out with two people at the same time. But definitely today we are going to do that. So please do stay tuned. And with that being said, I am actually going to be playing this in the background as we wait for our guest. Yeah, actually, here we go. Found it.
Where you were
actually oh yeah, I managed to register this. Yes, we're actually back right here right now for another 10 minutes as we get to hang out with the promoter based out of Edmonton and who managed to bring this talented Gemma all the way from Zimbabwe is actually going to be performing today in Edmonton as we celebrate the Zimbabwean independence. I know we started celebrating yesterday because the actual independence was yesterday as Zimbabwe turned 45. Yeah, 45. As Zimbabwe turned 45, but today we're actually going to be having a special guest who's actually going to be performing in Edmonton as we celebrate our Zimbabwean independence. So please help me welcome DJ Fambo, based all the way in Edmonton. Thank you so much for tuning in, DJ Fambo.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you can hear me. I'm so terrible sometimes
I
at
can
this
hear
whole
you.
sound biz. Okay, perfect. And I'm
Yes.
sure and hope that our listeners are tuned in as well. But anyway, DJ Fambo, thank you so much for coming through. I know this is just a brief, quick, last minute show. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Hold on. Tika, da. Anyway, tell us more. What's up with Gemma? What's happening in Edmonton tonight and what to expect?
All right. So, tonight, we're making history. We are doing something that has never been done before. I guess in the history of Edmonton, where for independence, we get to bring in artists from Zim, and the first female artist, like that I've brought from Zim, and incorporating also other genres. We have Nash Zim on that. We have Wali, giving us more of the traditional, type of music. We have also MC Yanni from Toronto. We're going to be so tonight will be a very good show. It's happening at Ashama Shriners in Edmonton. It starts at 6 p.m. until 11. This is an all ages show, so you're free to bring in your children, until 11 o'clock, and then after 11, then it's gonna be a party, So all the party animals can
Don't
take off the
department
shoes.
there, you mind. I get it.
Dog basta, yeah. So I'm so excited. Like Gemma is so excited. She's so happy. Like she's like, Canada is a beautiful country. Like the people are so nice, So she's so excited for tonight as well. The rehearsals that we did were perfect. So like it's gonna be fireworks. Like I don't want to say a lot, but it's gonna be fireworks. We have a lot of stuff. Like for everyone, we're gonna be having food as well. So sadza, nyama, maguru, some of that stuff. I think it's really good for the night. We also have
Okay, so question. Okay, with that being said, I totally understand. So does it come like on the ticket, or people I have to pay extra so that people know in advance?
You need to pay
extra.
No, you need to pay extra. Yeah. Okay. And then we also going to be having Uncle Brian. He's actually one of our sponsors. He's our main sponsor. So he's going to be bringing some of his product as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So people should expect to buy as well, right? Because Uncle Brian deals in meat and what have you. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So what does Uncle Brian bring to the table? What does he have?
So he has biltong. I don't think he's gonna bring any raw sausages, but he might.
Okay.
We are still working on that. Yeah, but for now I know biltong. Of dry horse. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just good snacks. It goes with the alcohol, right? Yeah.
It does go with the alcohol, and this is so exciting. It does go with alcohol. I like that. And it does go with the alcohol.
Because the saltiness, right? It gets you thirsty.
Exactly.
Buy some water.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, guys, you heard it right there. Tonight it is happening in Edmonton, as you heard from our brother DJ Fambo, because we're celebrating independence. Like, you missed that part. Like, we're celebrating.
Yes. So it's a packed weekend. We have Easter, and then obviously, our independence, 45th independent. So it's, as I'm saying, like, I'm just overexcited, because we've managed to do something that is, never really been done before. So and everyone is so supportive, and I appreciate, Amanda, you're on this, promoting, and everyone else is promoting this show. So it's gonna be a good weekend.
Absolutely. No, we look forward
Yeah.
to tonight and people coming through supporting all the way. All the way till the end, and we look forward to seeing Gemma's performance and a whole lot more. I know she has an album coming out and new
Yes.
songs as well, so this is going to be exciting, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it came at a good time, where she has a new album too, so it's everything just checked out, and I think her new song, the Ndarema, when she did the practice now with the band, that's a first, so that's history right there,
Yeah, yeah,
first time that song being performed with the live band, so
yeah.
it's really exciting things for the band members as well.
No,
Yeah,
that is awesome, and we do look
yeah.
forward to tonight.
Oh yeah, and I just encourage everybody who's coming tonight, bring your Zim flags,
Oh,
just represent.
actually, exactly.
Yes,
Definitely will bring our Zen flags. That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. I know we need to color. People need to see the red, the yellow, green
Mhm.
everywhere.
No, that is
Yes.
awesome. Any last words for our listeners and our viewers tonight, relate regarding to today's event before we sign off?
Okay. I think the last words are, just make sure you come on time. Doors are open at 6 p.m.
Actually.
and come on time, and we will try to make sure that everything goes on time. I know usually it's a challenge, when it comes to concerts.
Yeah.
So we put measures in place to make sure that if someone is supposed to perform at such a time, they should be there, so that we make sure by 11, we don't want to break the curfew, because the venue has a curfew for 11 for the kids, so the kids have to be out by 11 o'clock. Yeah, so that's why it's important for us to make sure we're on time. We make sure the artists are on stage, when they're supposed to be. So this
So
is gonna
does
be
it
good.
mean so is it the same venue where the kid friendly venue going to be the after party?
Yes,
Okay.
it's the same venue. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So
No, that is awesome.
yeah, I mean, it is a kid friendly venue, but so after 11, at least there's no kids around, so that's why we can go up to at least 1 a.m.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, that is
Yes.
awesome. Thank you so much, DJ Fambo, for coming through and just emphasizing on the time. We like that because, yes, we know our people with time. Like, yo,
Oh yeah.
yeah. And if you already got your ticket, don't be surprised when you see Gemma having performed after the time that you come in, because everything is actually going to be on time. So if you could come through at 6 p.m. tonight, because this is when the show kicks off. There's so many talented people who are actually going to be a part of the event. We have Nash Azim, who's also based in Edmonton, who's going to be part of the performance. You said Makianen, right? I think
Yeah, yeah, from Toronto. Yes.
from Toronto, Makianen. And we also
Yeah.
have Zuma. I know a lot of people have been asking me, oh my gosh, we saw Zuma on the flyer. So those are, some of the last minute changes that everybody is so excited about. They're like, oh my gosh, we saw Zuma. And also, do you mind letting people know Zuma's position relating to the show? Because a lot of people are kind of shocked because this was like a last minute show up on the flyer.
Okay. So in terms of hosts, so I have Sadhana Guru. So
Mm,
he's so basically so a host in our world is someone who's basically promoting the show, more, doing skits and all these things. So Zua is a co-host. So her sole purpose to be on the show is to help promote the show, bring
mm,
awareness to, because we needed everybody to be on deck, to make sure the word goes out to every Zimbabwean, in Canada or, so that's her position. So she's there to promote. Yeah. So maybe later on, after 11, she might maybe go on the mic and just say some things, because then we will just be partying, so but actually from 6 to 11 is just going to be you, Amanda, the master of ceremony,
Oh, thank you.
handling the business. Yeah,
That's our
yeah.
department
And
too.
then yeah. And then I forgot to mention also we have Ronan Nyandoro also. He's one of the performers. So for all the Mbira lovers, so we've catered for everybody. So Mbira, we
Yeah,
have
actually, I wanted to ask the
the
marimba band, because I think I saw on the program that we have. Is the marimba band going to play as well?
Yeah, Nyandoro. Yeah, Ronald Nyandoro.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the same. Okay.
Yeah. So like I say, we've catered for everybody, for all ages. So, Jay myself, she captures the gospel, the young, you have 5-year-olds singing, it's crazy. And then you have Nash Zim, and then we have the Zim dancehall. So there's no excuse, like, come on, why can't it come out tonight? There's no excuse.
Exactly.
We've got everybody covered.
Exactly. And talk about the one
Yeah.
thing I'm actually proud of. The one thing I'm actually proud of, is when I was looking at the flyer, and right now you're actually saying, we catered to a whole lot of people, right?
Yeah.
To talk about, where we come from, what you call it, there's a whole tribe situation and what have you, but the one thing I loved about your poster, we
That's
have Kwali
the
there, we
elephant in
have
the room.
exactly
Yeah.
everybody's in the room, you catered for everybody. There's Kwali there,
Yeah.
there's Nkwali there, we have Nashe, we have Makianen, where there's no way you can say there was discrimination in the promotion of this event, in just having the event, really. And like you said, if anything, you've actually put it on the Zim independence. What does independence mean? It means Zimbabwe as a whole.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yeah.
no, we really appreciate that.
Yeah. So, that's one thing. When I moved to Edmonton, 3 years ago, having attended so many Zim events, I realized, we have that, we're not, united, as Zimbabweans. So, if maybe there's a Zim event, then it's, Shona, or, it's a Debele event, then people don't come together,
Boycott, yeah.
So I was like, come on, I need to come up with something, to kind of like bring everybody together. Yeah. So when I came up with the idea of bringing Gemma, I was like, okay, I'll bring Gemma. Then I need also a Ndebele artist, so that everyone is included in the show, yeah, bring everybody together. So that was my main goal. And I think so far it's working, because everybody's on board, like everyone's supporting this thing. And also, just for the record, a lot of people thought that Zikusa was funding this concert. No, it just so happened, Zikusa has always been doing Zim independence items, but unfortunately this year, I don't know, due to whatever their budgeting, they were not able. So I approached them and said, listen, I'm trying to do this on that weekend. Do you guys have anything else planned? They said, no, we don't have anything planned, but if you want to do something, we can support you. So they actually helped me secure the hall that we're using. So I got a discount through them.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
So and also they're helping with the promotion. There's an email broadcast system that can reach almost 1,500 Zimbabweans. So yeah. So for the record, Zikusa is not involved in this monetarily. They're just supporting, as they should. I'm a Zimbabwean.
As they should, yeah.
Yeah,
And even
they
like back
have
in the
to.
day, if anything, like you mentioned,
Yeah,
you've been only in Edmonton for how long? You say 3 years now, right?
yeah, about 3.5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about 3 years. I lived in Edmonton for
yeah,
10 years, and I also used to
yeah,
volunteer for Zakusa. So I
yeah.
totally I totally know and understand how it works, because when the rumors started coming about,
Mm,
people have their own agendas more than anything, and they're like, "Oh yeah, but how
yes,
come fumbles?" Da, da, da. And the first thing I said was like, from as far as history is concerned, I used to volunteer for Zakusa, and Zakusa is always backed, as in whoever promoter brings somebody, they
yes,
do it on their own, and Zakusa comes into backup. You understand? As in just to
yes,
support and say how best can we help, as they should.
yes.
Yeah, as they should,
Yeah.
and representing the community more than anything.
So yeah, I mean, and some were saying, "Oh, how there's no way Fumble was able to afford that, by himself."
Anyway,
I mean,
Famba,
for
there's no
those
way
who
you could
don't
have actually afforded to do that.
like,
Typical Zimbo. I
for
know, I know.
for people who don't know me, I don't only just promote Zimbabwean events. I'm doing American artists. I'm doing Jamaican artists. I
Mm.
brought in Barrow Messiah, from Jamaica. I brought in D12. I
And
brought in
TI
Obi
as well,
Twice.
yeah.
Sorry.
Were you part of TI as well?
Yes, I was part of
Yeah,
TI.
yeah.
Also, Bryson Taylor, Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, um, Uncle Murder, and my
Jeez, oh my
upcoming show
gosh.
right
Like
now.
Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo. Oh my gosh. You just reminded me of back
Yeah.
in the day.
So if you look at the profile of all these artists, like those guys are expensive,
Mm.
to bring to Canada. So I was laughing when someone said, "Oh, how can you afford to bring Gemma?" You know, Gemma is expensive, in a range, but we can't compare that to American artists or Jamaican artists, but she's expensive, trust me. But I was able to afford it still,
And we thank God for
because
that.
that's my passion. I'm a promoter. That's my job. I don't
And you
just
have
try
to
and
figure
focus
it
on.
out.
Yeah, you have to figure it out exactly.
So, question,
So
here's a bit number one question. Now that you've mentioned that, people have been asking all of that to say, oh, how can you afford Gemma? How can you, and
yeah,
like you said, she's expensive in her own range. And I hear a
yeah,
lot of, and it's been happening for so long. It's a question that's been coming
yeah,
from a lot of people, where they're like, why is it Mr. Putiti cannot come? Because a lot of people want Mr. Putiti. If you hear, oh, there's somebody coming, and they're like, why is it XQ? Like everybody's talking
yeah.
about XQ. So how can we request for that and have that come to pass? Because people are like, Kasano Dura XQ here, chi.
Mhm,
Like what's the
yeah,
big deal with not having XQ?
yeah.
Because I've heard it for so many years. And also me being in the entertainment industry, where you hear, okay, Amanda, ask your promoters, ask Utijoni, why not Mr. Putiti?
Yeah. So the main issue here is, for someone who has a passport from Zimbabwe, it takes time usually to get a visa to come here,
Mm.
unless you're coming for a festival. And then, price wise, it can be expensive, but, personally, me, I'm a risk taker. So, you know, I just work with whatever artist wants, and then I just take the risk. I mean, I brought Confused last time,
Mm.
first time, and I so many people asking, oh, why Confused? Why did you bring Confused? Why didn't you bring this person? It took me 1 year to get his visa. Actually, when he got his visa, I actually forgot that I had paid. Yeah, I was like,
I
oh,
know.
really? Oh, I
Wow.
forgot
Oh,
about it.
wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you
So
know
it's all
what?
about.
There's no
Mhm.
success with no risk. Like we were actually hanging out earlier on with Paco, who was actually telling us about being persistent, who he knocked on so many doors. He got a no, he got no's. And his no
Yeah,
wasn't just a no, it wasn't denial, it was maybe. And his maybe
yeah,
turned into a yes. And right now we're talking about somebody who's actually partnered up with Marvel, somebody who's actually partnered up with Disney. And who knows where that's going to take you as well, right? Because without a
yes.
risk, there's no success.
Yeah, that's why I'm always in people's DMs, like all
Mm,
these famous artists. I'm always there. So now with shows that I've done in the past, now I actually have people reaching out to me, offering me artists.
mm,
So I think since I started for the past 2 weeks, when I started going hard with the promo for Gemma, I've had so many managers from Zim. I won't mention the names, like reach out to me. Now they see what we're doing. So now they want an opportunity for their artists to come to Canada as well,
Mm,
because they
mm,
see that this thing is real, it's happening. And
mm,
especially when Gemma landed in Canada, I had more requests too. Like, oh no, okay, please, we want to bring our artists. Let's work something out. And
mm,
then currently, I think I gave you a little bit of hint of what to expect. The artists. So these artists are basically based in the UK, so they don't really need a visa. You know, most of them to come to Canada. So that's where
mm.
I look at the angle as well. So I look at artists who are not having, as in past maybe British or German or American. It's easier for me to bring artists like that. Yeah, but for Zim artists with a passport, Zimbabwe, it's hard. 1 year, yeah, it can be 6 months to 1 year.
Mm,
Yeah,
okay. So anyway,
so that's
my
why
cousin just came through. Hazel, thank you so much for tuning in. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, we want X." You see, and she's one of those like, "Why not, Mr. Body Dance?" And he did it, Maku. That's her favorite song, one of XQ's favorite songs. But if anything, there you've heard it for yourselves, guys. It's only the issue with visas and what have you, and it takes time compared to back in the days when we came. It wasn't. For my visa took overnight, and then there's some people who
yeah,
you hear, oh yeah, back in the day we actually didn't need a visa. You understand? So
yeah,
things a little bit complicated with time, and I'm just hoping like with the elections that are going on, it will actually make it easy for
easier,
entertainment
yes,
entertainment
yeah,
world more than anything. Yes, it's one thing having to apply for a visa just as an independent person coming to Canada, and another thing
yes.
having to bring our culture within Canada. And I just hope this is something that will change for the better and for our entertainment industry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, because I always wondered why can't we have the urban group artists coming here? I mean, we've had Winky, we've
Absolutely.
had obviously Jah Preza has been here, Killer T, but we have all those like those old school guys, so the Leonard Mafumos, the Ngonis, the Decibels, the Freemans, the Knox,
Yeah.
so that's something that I'm looking at a different angle. Like I want to approach it in a different way, that no one else has ever done it like that before. It's
Yeah.
possible. You
Yeah.
just need to be a risk taker like me, So yeah, that's that's how I operate, So when I see an opportunity, I'm always in these guys' DMs,
Mm,
asking you, listen, I want to bring you to Canada. Let's work something out here.
mm.
Can't offer you so much money, but take it as an opportunity for you to grow your brand. So you come to Canada, I offer you this amount. We do 2 3 shows. Next year, you're set, because if you get your visa, they probably give you 5 years. Then
Yes.
each and every year you're coming back.
Yeah. No, that is awesome, guys. So right there, you've actually gotten a hint of what else that's coming. I've actually spoken about it with DJ Fumble behind the scenes to say, okay, what's
Yeah.
what and next. And some of these artists, like you said, urban grooves, it kind of changed the music world in Zimbabwe back in the day when it was 100% music with Jonathan Moyo. Thank you so much, Jonathan Moyo, for that.
Yeah.
I know not a lot of people were in agreement to that, but I was one of those where we got to see so much talent come out, so much talent emerge, so much talent that up until now we cannot get out of, really, because if anything, I cannot even keep up with Zim Danso, yo, dude. I do not even understand Zim Danso.
Yeah.
I do not understand Zim Danso to save my life. And Urban Grooves has been the one. You understand? For Zim, it actually defined music in Zimbabwe for the
Yes.
younger generation, for the millennials to be specific. So I think that would actually be a good move for you to do in the future.
Yes. Yeah. I think the last word is, if you're doing what you're doing, don't mind what people are saying, just
Mm,
focus on what you're doing, because people will come and try and distract you, try and discourage you, not to do this. I had people telling me, oh, why Gemma? why bring Gemma?
Last time it was confused. Why confused? Now it's why
Why confused?
Gemmas.
Yeah, and then,
So
yeah,
who not to?
yeah, and then with confused, I had over 300 people, show up. Last minute, people were buying tickets like crazy.
Yeah.
So and the very same people who tell you, oh, why Gemma? You will still see them at the concert too, because now they feel left out, because everybody will be coming to these things, because there's like it's something good for our community,
Actually, if
Yeah,
anything, you've just reminded me, as much as you said a last word. Yesterday we had a Zim celebration for the Zimbabwean independence, Zimbabwean
yeah,
independence celebration out here in
yeah,
Calgary. And a lot of people, I was like, yo, guys, are you coming tomorrow? Are you coming tomorrow at Gemma's
yeah,
concert? And people were shocked to say, what do you mean Gemma's concert? Is Gemma here?
mm,
So if
mm,
anything, my question is, how was your marketing? Because it seems like a lot of people were sort of shocked, in as much as,
mhm,
of course, we are in your spaces, so we're bound to see
yeah,
your posts and stuff like that. But people were not in your spaces. How did you go about the marketing, and how best do you think you can do
yeah,
next time? Because a lot of people
yeah,
yesterday, I'm not gonna lie to you, Calgary, some of them, they're like, I
mhm,
was even shocked. I even said, guys, are you coming
yeah,
tomorrow? Are you coming out? I'm gonna be emceeing tomorrow. Let's do this and what have you. They're like, what do you mean? What's in
yes,
Edmonton? The first question was,
yeah,
what's in Edmonton? I'm like, what do you mean, what's in Edmonton?
yeah,
Right? Because it's all over social media. So when it comes
yeah,
to your marketing, have you actually done the background work, the research? We're talking to Paakow earlier on, where he's like, do your research
mhm,
before you do what it is that you want to do.
yeah. So in terms of marketing, obviously,
Mm,
we focus more on the social media, but I think the main thing is the artist herself. She's been posting.
mm,
So for people who might not know that she's coming, most probably it's people who don't maybe follow her or follow her music, because they don't know, because the artist has been posting for like 3 weeks now, like straight.
okay.
So that's another angle where some people they just know the music, but they don't feel like they can actually listen to this person all the time or follow them on Instagram. If I listen to 50 Cent, I follow his music, I follow him on Instagram, so I know exactly where he's
What is
gonna
up
be.
to?
I know his new music. I know
Yeah,
what
what
is
is
up
up
to.
to?
Yeah, so that comes also, like you can't please everybody. In this
Yeah.
industry, you can only do so much. But the artist herself or himself is supposed to sell tickets. So right now, Gemma, she's good. She's actually doing better than most of the American artists that I have promoted in terms of advanced ticket sales. Because a lot of people show up at the door, but for her, so far, the amount of tickets bought so far is crazy.
Mm,
So she's doing good. She promotes, you see how she posts every time, every day? She's promoting a show, she's building a name. So
mm,
not a lot of artists do that as well. They post maybe on a story, that's it, right? She
mm.
posts on the wall, she does stories daily. So I mean, it's unfortunate, I tried my best to reach out to everybody, but you can only do so much, in this
And
industry. Yeah,
also
but
through Zakusa, I guess, like you said, Zakusa has so many people on there. What do you call it? But then again, Zakusa is Edmonton based and caters for Edmonton, because I think Calgary has their own. Because the people that I was asking were people in Calgary, so they didn't
yeah,
even know that was happening, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So then I
yeah,
was like, "Okay, so that's the feedback that I will just give out to you to say, you know what? I don't know if it was marketing or what
no,
have you." So if anything, people, like we said,
yeah,
or from advice to say, if there's an artist you're so passionate about or you love,
yeah,
it's there on their social media. Definitely they will post it and say, you know what, I am actually going to be in
that's it.
Calgary, or I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Edmonton or Canada, what have you, right? So
yeah,
that's how best you can follow them.
yeah. So I mean, if you don't know, most probably you're okay with the way you are, because you don't follow them, so you're
Mm,
okay with not listening to their music, so you're good.
mm,
So to those
mm,
who follow this artist, they already know. So, I
mm.
know people are flying in from Toronto,
Oh
because
yeah,
we
and
we
even
had the
some, I
first
have
spot.
my cousin who's actually coming from BC for the show, so There's a lot of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
coming
So
out from other provinces.
yeah, so as you know, we had scheduled a Toronto show for tomorrow, but due to poor ticket sales, I had to postpone it to a later date.
Okay.
Like yeah, it was just the day, I guess, Sunday, and there were other Zim independence going on the Friday and today as well. So I think that kind of like, got everybody a little bit on edge, like, oh, now where do we go? So maybe they'd already bought tickets for these events already. So that's why I decided to just postpone it to a later date.
Okay. No, that is awesome. Guys, you've
Yes.
just heard it for yourselves. So the show that was meant to be done in Toronto, which was Confused featuring Gemma, right? Is she gonna
Yes.
come back then? Yeah, featuring Gemma as
Yes.
well. It has been postponed, not cancelled. It's been postponed.
No, it's
So
postponed.
exactly, not
Let's
cancelled. So
postpone.
exactly,
Let's
postponed, guys.
underline
You
that.
heard it for yourselves, not
Yeah.
cancelled. So definitely
No, no.
follow retired General DJ Fumbo on his social media platforms, and then you will get to know more and when exactly that's been moved to. Is it anytime soon? Do you have dates already?
Most probably in July. Yeah, but
Okay, so in the summer.
I'm still working on it. Yes.
Okay, no, that sounds good. No, that is awesome. Thank you so much, DJ Fumbo. Sorry. Thank you so much, DJ Fumbo. We're actually now running out of time. I know this was supposed to be like a 5-10 minute talk, but then at the same
Yeah.
time, it is always good to come through and set the record straight, considering that, our community, they always want answers and to so many questions. But we really appreciate your time here and we look forward to tonight's show. And those are actually going to come out tonight.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you tonight.
Yeah. So just quickly, I don't know if it's possible if we can do some kind of like a voting thing of where people will say, oh, we want this artist to come, and then people vote.
We'll do polls, yeah.
Can we do something like that so that
definitely we
because
will
it's
do
good to
that.
hear from the people. Yeah.
Okay, no, that's awesome. Yeah. So we'll definitely do it. Like, I think we can actually do it on Instagram, Facebook, or what have you. So I will link up with you afterwards, offline, and then we can figure out on how to post that, and then we can get the ball rolling more than anything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
See you guys tonight.
All right, thank you so much, DJ Fumbo, for coming through. Get your tickets last minute, guys. Do we actually still have the promo going on?
No. Christmas is over.
Guys, there we go. There we go, guys. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to take the ticker off because the promo is done. And those. Oh, by the way, good news, Fumbo. Some people were actually coming from here. They said, "Oh, I got your ticket. I got my ticket from your promo code." So we have a couple of people.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah. I saw people. Yeah, I saw. No. Thank you.
Yeah, so I got a lot of people saying yesterday, "Oh, Amanda, I actually saw from your promo code, so I got tickets from your promo code." And we really appreciate you, coming through for people in that sense, because I know a lot of people were like thinking like, this is ridiculous. And this is obviously where the rumors came through when it came to Zakusa and what have you, independence and all that drama. Yeah. But no, we really appreciate like the being open to having a promo code and a lot of people eventually coming through.
Yeah, because some were saying, "Oh, it's too expensive." So I'm like, okay, let's give a discount and see. And then it did work because that's where most of the ticket sales came from now. So that was very helpful. Because as much as I'm trying to make money, but at the same time, is passionate about music. Other people, like I'd rather have people show up to with. If you got less money, so you pay with a discount. That's fine, Then, but tonight, if you didn't buy a ticket in advance, you'll be paying more at the door.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It does make sense. That's what happens usually, really, at every concert. Yeah. But thank you so much, DJ Fumbo. We look forward to tonight, and see you later this evening. Oh my gosh, when is the? Well, yeah, I look forward to emceeing. I've never actually emceed a concert, so this is actually something that I actually look forward to, and I feel it's going to be different and exciting. And yeah, see you later today.
See you later. All right, guys.
All right, no worries. Thank you. much. And guys,
Yeah.
you just heard it for yourselves from DJ Fambo, who's actually the promoter of Gemma's show tonight. If you haven't bought your tickets, please do come through and get your tickets. At the moment, where can they find them since there's no longer a promo code? Can they go on your social platforms, or where can they find tickets?
No, so tickets are still on Eventbrite. It's
Okay.
only you're paying the full price without a
Yeah.
discount.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can still buy tickets until 5 p.m.
Mm,
You can still get tickets. Yeah.
okay.
So after
No,
5
that
p.m. then yeah, it's gonna be door
right.
sales. Yeah.
Exactly. No, that is awesome. Thank you so much, DJ Fambo. I am going to release you now and we will see you later. So, everybody else
So
that's actually tuned in, thank you so much for coming through. I actually heard, you actually heard it for yourselves from DJ Fambo saying that, we're going to hold a poll for you guys to come through and let us know which other artists you want. We know Mr. Putiti is on the table, and I hope Mr. Putiti can hear it for himself.
yeah.
But the people out here, they really want you to come through. And I hope the Canadian government is also listening.
Yeah,
Immigration,
we
we
just
really want our Zimbabwean artists to be able to come here. And with no hustle more than
yeah.
anything. So
Oh,
yeah, I know that's the only complicated thing that we have with having and bringing artists here with the Zimbabwean passport. But
yeah.
anyway, guys,
So even South African passports as well can be complicated. Just
oh really?
to mention that, yeah, it's not only Zimbabwean, so South African passports can be like that as well.
Oh, I didn't
It's
know.
not
I
a
didn't know.
Zimbabwean thing, just to make it clear. Yeah, it's not a Zim thing. It's
Okay,
I don't know, maybe it's a Southern African thing, but South
right.
African passport holders, yeah, same.
Oh wow. So guys, I'm a
Yeah,
piano guys. Oh, I'm a piano fans. You heard it for yourselves. So it's not just
yeah,
Zimbabwe. But anyway, thank you guys
right.
for tuning in. Right now we're running out of time and your girl needs to get ready to drive down to Edmonton. I don't know how I'm gonna make it, but we hope we do actually make it because we are so ready for tonight. So see you later in the evening. Do come through at Gemma's concert. I wonder if I could actually, if I am able to show. For some reason, we're no longer able to show that
Okay,
the
guys,
flyer is not working. But
I'm
no,
out.
thank you so much, DJ Fambo.
Thank
For
you.
those who actually tuned in and who were tuned in the entire 2 hours earlier on, we got to hang out with the talented Paakow, who is actually who's actually a visionary and a trailblazer in the streetwear scenes, who is actually turning cultural pride into a global fashion movement. Do follow Paco on his social platforms. I believe we actually have a ticker for him and get to learn more of what he's up to. And the whole actually, he's got a 10-year anniversary that's coming up. So he said, I cannot say much at the moment, but do follow him on his social platforms so you can know what's coming up and so we can go and support our brother out in the States. So thank you so much for tuning in and thank you so much for coming through. And those who are actually going to be able to make it tonight, we look forward to seeing you tonight. I am your host, aka the Hype Lady, signing off today and right now. Geez, I had forgotten that, we used to do 3 hours together and 1 hour is already a lot. And then today we did 2 hours. I'm like, okay, I don't mind this. So yes, next week we're actually going to be having a phenomenal guest. Look forward to that one. I don't know if I'm ready to say who it is, but out in the international spaces today, you got to learn about somebody who managed to get a deal with Disney and Marvel. And next week, we're going to have somebody who's been a part of a Hollywood production. I am not yet saying names and what have you. So just do stay tuned because next week is actually going to be exciting. So thank you so much for tuning in to all listeners and viewers. I am your host, aka the Hype Lady. And if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, After5Radio. Hit the like button and share this episode with your friends. Today we had 2 guests come through, and it was so phenomenal. And having to set some of the records straight. And also, do not forget once again, we're going to be holding a poll on for the Zimbabweans to find out which artists do you want coming through, and then they will try, the promoters will try and make it happen. But also look forward to Zim Urban Groovers coming through, because there's something that's being cooked behind the scenes that I cannot say yet, but it's a huge festival that's been planned by DJ Fambo for our Zim Urban Groovers. So do stay tuned for that one. So until next time, guys, stay inspired, stay connected. We're past beyond our time, so let's keep celebrating the culture. This is your host once again, the hype lady, Miss Tando Amy, signing off with love. Take care and God bless you, as we say goodbye and see you later today.
My way, they say it's different 'cause I do it my way. Wanna way. By the way, I'm walking steady, so don't get in my way. In so na just on the
Thank you.